Listen, anytime, any place, anywhere, I'll fight you in your back garden. Like a dumb Klitschko, I'll beat you, you bum.
I want to unify. Is he up for the challenge? Like I said, I declare war. You know, this is not a battle, this is war because I was born in this.
Why am I sitting here like a spare dick away? While you are sitting in your mum's spare rooms, just tickling your bollocks.
Come see me, baby. No more hiding, no more ducking, no more dodging, no more excuses. Let's make the fight happen. Let's see who's the best. I know I'm the best. Are you up for the test?
I'm through. Hey, put somebody else up and give me an interview. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
Negative. I'm good. I beat Polly. I left with his belt and his girl.
Fucking was too fast. But it wasn't so much about, it was just that he was so fucking fast. Fast.
Amazingly fast.
Fucking amazingly fast. I was like, I thought Freddie was in there fucking hitting me too. So,
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, obviously podcast from iTunes, Spotify, Radio, etc. If you're looking on iTunes now, and you're looking at Mixed Comment Radio, and it says under like the author, it's no longer also Mixed Comment Radio. It's Trending Now Network. Yes, go over Trending Now Network on YouTube, podcast form, all that stuff. I think it's for sure on Spotify, Spreaker, SoundCloud. It's for sure on that. I don't know if it's on iTunes yet. It's being reviewed by Apple as we speak, but it should be confirmed today. So look for Trending Now podcast on all podcast feeds. Again, Trending Now Network, YouTube, our new YouTube channel. Check that out. It's in our featured channel section on YouTube as well. Digressing, I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. It's going to be a full slate of boxing topics and news and breakdowns to get to. We're going to talk about the fights coming up this weekend, though. There aren't that many, or really that many great fights this weekend to talk about, but there are some, two cards in particular we're going to talk about in depth, and a couple other cards we might mention. Plus, obviously, a litany of news, Canelo, Derevyanchenko update, plus breaking news right before the show started, Dylan White. So there's a lot to dissect, break down with you guys. Call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers, call in on Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. But ladies and gentlemen, I am not solo dolo today. No, he's back. Hold on, I got a soundbite for like these occasions. Hold on, where is it?
Guess who's back? Back again.
Second cousin, twice removed of Sir Eddie. In theory, this is your first show since the whole Dylan White news, but not really because you're on the show when the news broke, so you did talk about it and give your opinions on it. But this is kind of like the first show you're back in a way for a while. You've been sick, heat stroke. I know the elderly, it affects them more than us youngins, so I'm glad you're alive and well. Rob, how you doing, man?
I think you'll find that's Robbie Warren right now. No, I'm only messing. Yeah, I'm good. I'm back. You kind of led into it, so I was going to say, what do you mean, Dillian White news? What are you talking about? I've got
what
no
news?
idea.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No idea. But yeah, good to be back. Good to be doing the show, and yeah, good to see the usual suspects in the chat, and yeah, ready to go.
Yeah, let's before we get to the breaking news, air quotes breaking news before the show, because come on, we're gonna bury the lead a little bit at least, right? Let's talk about Canelo Alvarez. What?
Get that watch time.
Watch time up. Yeah, you guys. For those that want to hear us talk about Dylan White being suspended by the WBC, that's later on the show. You got to wait a little bit at least, or wait at least a couple hours till I splice it up and clip it in its own video. But digressing from that, Jake Donovan reporting sources: Canelo Derevyanchenko deadline extended. Oh, shocker! No, the horror. Are we surprised by this really? When it rolled by 1 or 2 p.m., Rob, like on Monday, yesterday, I knew it got postponed. I think this article came out late last night, but we knew sort of what the deal was by noon yesterday, let's be honest, because that's when the deadline was noon Pacific time.
Yeah.
So no real shock here, and also no real shock that they extended it for Canelo. No, if you're the moneymaker, you get extensions. This happens all the time. Even if you're like, air quotes, minor moneymakers like Kell Brook, for example, you get extensions. Like that's just it's just the order of what the IBF does. They will extend purse bids out.
They all do.
They all do, but the IBF, I feel like, because they're more consistent with calling purse bids. Therefore, we're going to hear about them extending it more. You know what I mean? Just because of
I guess
just because of pure numbers, we're going to hear about more. Yeah. So that's why I think we hear of the IBF having extensions more often than, let's say, the WBC and others.
Usually means a deal was close, or they're really talking and trying to get it done. So
yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I think we're going to get this fight. I think the only reason we got an extension was because of DAZN and Canelo, because the whole Triple G addition to this fight is seems to be the holdup. I mean, I think it was Mike Cobbinger first reported that wasn't an issue, but then I think it was later Mike or Keith Idette came out and later reported, nope, it is an issue. So maybe it was Chris Mannix. I forget who exactly reported that.
There's been a bunch of that lately. Like Canelo Kovalev is back on next day. No, it's bullshit. I've got another story for you, athletic editors. What I reported yesterday is all horseshit, and it's not on. Derevyanchenko's back as favorite. So
dude, I was looking through our shows the other day, and like the amount of Canelo Kovalev, Canelo Triple G3, Canelo Derevyanchenko, and it going back and forth is absurd. For our listeners, I apologize. We are victims of the news just as much as you are. So this is what we have to cover.
Talk about it. We've got to talk about it. If that's what's being reported by the guys that are allegedly in the know, then we kind of got to talk about it.
Damn, right? Rob, allegedly. Oh, shit. Whoa.
Now, I've learned this week that allegedly is always the best foot forward whenever you make a statement.
It really, especially when you are, like, when you have sources that are, like, up there. And, Rob, you know this. You've been around. Like, we can't talk about it because me and you both know. Yeah. But, like, we've had high-up people that are our sources on this show, and like allegedly anonymous people within the camp. Those terms are fucking the best terms to use in this sport. But digressing, Canelo Derevyanchenko, the holdup being Triple G. Do we think that is going to actually lead to this fight not happening at all, Rob? Do we think that is a legit red line that Canelo is not going to pass, and therefore we're not going to get Canelo Derevyanchenko? Therefore, Canelo's going to be stripped of his belt. What do you think can actually happen here, to sort of predict that?
I really don't know. I really don't know. Canelo clearly hates Triple G. So in my opinion, does he then get stripped of his belt and let fucking Triple G fight for it? I don't know.
I feel like if you hate Triple G, you won't let him do that either.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
It's like, you're going to have to do something. Look, if you fucking hate the guy, go and beat him up. That's what I say. I mean, Matt, sometimes, you're lucky you're in LA. Let me just...
Yeah, shut up, man. You wouldn't dare hurt me. You love me. And, I mean, if you're Canelo, you got to think at this point in time, Triple G might be, like, the right time to take him out.
Yeah.
Like, he still has enough shine on him to where if you, let's say, come out here and beat him definitively in a trilogy fight
for the first time,
people won't really say, oh, he's old. You're going to get that, obviously, but that won't be the consensus, right?
Because what is he, 38?
He's somewhere right around that, I believe.
Wow. 37.
Well, let's say if Triple G goes and fights Derevyanchenko or Andrade or somebody of that nature, and let's say it doesn't look that great, still wins, but doesn't look that great, the narrative continues to shift and change in terms of what Triple G is in terms of quality in an elite level in the middleweight division, and that could affect a trilogy fight with Canelo. So I do think this is the best time to take it. That's why I've been on record since this all started. Canelo, please stop fighting Munguia, Kovalev, Callum Smith, Derevyanchenko. Just fight Triple G. Just please get that out of the way, over with, so we can put that behind us. But no, that's not going to happen. I think we're going to get Derevyanchenko. I don't think he's going to let his belt go. And plus, it in a way is getting back at DAZN in some aspect of his mind, I think. You know what I mean? I think in his mind, he thinks he's the one that's in control. He's the one that, quote, won the negotiation battle with DAZN if he fights Derevyanchenko. Because Derevyanchenko wasn't one of the names they wanted him to fight.
No. So we'll have to see whether we end up getting it. The longer it goes, the less I want it. So,
speaking of Canelo Triple G,
yeah,
of course, I agree. I absolutely agree with you. There's a timetable on when that fight is appealing to us. But then again, like God, we're about to get Mayweather Pacquiao too, and we're excited for it. God knows what's in the future.
No. Don't put where.
Okay,
don't.
Okay. Me and a lot of our listeners are truly excited for that.
Sources tell The Athletic you're all crazy.
But let's talk about the breaking news of the day, Rob. The one that has the Twitter sphere going in a tizzy, as they say. I don't know.
Look, since I sent it you, is it really?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you.
You just put that out there.
I don't know, man. I'll just be honest. When I see that many people tweeting, "Oh, this is breaking news," it's gonna have that trickle down effect with the fans.
Yeah,
like if everyone in the media is tweeting about it, then everyone that's a fan in the boxing Twitter sphere is therefore going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, people are going to address it. You're going to have the Dylan White haters, let's call them that. They're going to obviously rally around this news. You're going to have the Matchroom fans, Dylan White fans, sort of defend it, like, oh, it's the WBC. They're not really the ones that tested, or they're not the ones that caught him, so to speak. But as we're going to get to, that largely doesn't matter.
Tell the people, Matt, what is it we're talking about if they don't know already?
Oh, if they don't know, yeah, let me table the discussion first, yes. Or set the discussion. WBC suspends Dylan White's position as interim champ and mandatory, and also handing him a provisional suspension. Do you want me to read the whole press release? It's not that long, actually.
Yes, do it.
Rob, you love these dramatic readings, don't you?
I do.
An A sample UCAD collected from
Mauricio. You sound so sexy, Mauricio.
Oh, stop it. From Mr. Dylan White in relation with his bout against Oscar Rivas yielded an adverse finding. In light of that adverse finding, and pending the outcome of the WBC's own investigation and adjudicatory process, the WBC is provisionally suspending the WBC's recognition of Dylan White as WBC interim world heavyweight champion and mandatory challenger of the division. The WBC has notified Mr. White and his team of the WBC suspension, and that will afford Mr. White the opportunity to present his position to the WBC at an investigative hearing, which will take place at a place and time to be announced in the near future. Throughout its investigation and hearing, the WBC will afford Mr. White and his team the opportunity to present any available information, materials, and any exculpatory evidence that might deem appropriate.
Mr. White, way too many times there for me to not think of as a White.
That's true. That's funny.
I feel discouraged.
Damn, Matchroom taking L's. Sorry guys, I get petty. I do. You know me, Rob. You know me. The Matchroom fans surprisingly come at me more than any other fan base, so I got to come at them a little bit, just with some pettiness. Sorry, guys. I love you, but sorry. This isn't really too surprising, though it is interesting that we're going to have, again, not surprising, but interesting, we're going to have two different possible outcomes with Dylan White in terms of suspensions. Obviously, he's under the jurisdiction of UCAD and British Boxing Board of Control in terms of licensing. So they have their own process to go through, but he's also a sanctioned WBC fighter and therefore under their jurisdiction as well. So they're obviously going to have their own determination, hearings, and process as well. I don't think we're going to see too much of a difference in terms of punishment. In fact, I think the WBC is probably going to be more lenient, to be honest. Just looking at their history and the fact that they're... Yeah, just looking at their history. Like, they have a far...
They're a sanctioning body.
Yeah. UCAT is, usually speaking, a strict regulatory body when it comes to PED suspensions. Far more so than the U.S. I will give them that. Though we do have, obviously, issues with their policy, which I've talked about at length. We don't need to get into that now for this time. Go check out our earlier shows and videos about that content. If you want to hear me talk about how the British Boxing Board Control and UCAD's policy is fundamentally the main problem here, not Dylan White. But digressing from that, like I said, I don't think there's much to add to this other than WBC is going to have their own process, own opinion, own sort of suspension for Dylan White than UCAD and the British Boxing Board of Control. And to be honest, guys, I think it's going to be a more lenient suspension. Rob, any opinions about Dylan White? And also, just to sort of open the floor to you, even though I know you don't want to, for this entire subject, because we talked about it when the news literally came out. A lot more information has come out. Eddie Hearn has basically confirmed a lot of the reporting from Thomas Hauser. So, sort of, again, your opinions about it, the case, and obviously the WBC suspension of Dylan White in terms of his mandatory status and interim championship. Rob.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing. Look, fighter pops dirty. You know, it's no breaking news really. It's no great shock in the sport, but yes, the whole big deal about this for me is that despite a hearing and he was cleared to fight and this, that, and the other, it's that Rivas entered the ring not knowing about this situation at all. Whether Dillian White has had a tainted supplement that's got the most minute traces of a PED, or he's been injecting shit straight into the vein and whatever, Team Rivas should have been aware that there's been some kind of issue, whether it's a full-on fail, some adverse finding, anything. I believe all parties should have been in the know from the start. Just like, was it Morales and Danny Garcia?
Yep.
You know, they went, asked, yes, we'll carry on with the fight. Right,
yeah,
fine.
For those who don't know, just because Rob mentioned that, Eric Morales and Danny Garcia fought famously, I think it was in New York, right? Mm-hmm. And Eric Morales popped dirty for clenbuterol before the fight. Obviously, clenbuterol has some differing of medical opinions about whether it's A, performance enhancing, or B, certain areas are under contamination hazards. But digressing from that point, he tested positive before the fight, and they went to Danny Garcia and asked him, is this okay? Are you going to allow the fight to continue? And they said, yeah, we're going to let the fight continue. Because at that time, it was going through the process or similar, not in the same way to this, but in sort of a similar fashion. Like, it was, I think, a week out or a few days out. The B sample hadn't come back yet. They were either going to give him a provisional suspension or they were going to allow the fight to continue. So they sort of let Danny make the decision. Danny let the fight continue, and he obviously won the fight. Eric Morales then went on to fail 2 more drug tests after the fact and after the fight. So that led to his overall suspension after the fact. But, just want to sort of explain that scenario out for those that
want to. So, I guess, see, at the minute, apart from Thomas Hauser's report, which I think despite Eddie saying there's like untruths in there, I think it's still up, hasn't been like revised or edited or changed in any way.
Or I will also add, Eddie and anyone has not mentioned a single thing that is wrong in the reporting.
Yeah, I mean, look, if there is legal stuff regarding that, because I believe the case is private between the fighter and or whatever, so it can't be spoke of it. I get that, but it's just leading to a whole bunch of either wild speculation or, you know, the fans making up their own mind. Mm-hmm. I think we're at the point now where we just want straight facts. This is what happened. This is that. This is the result of the B sample. But I guess, I mean, people maybe need to realize this could take quite some time yet. I don't know when we'll hear more of an update on it. But yeah, as far as the WBC making their statement today, it's not surprising to me. While there's an investigation, it's like, right, you know, you're in timeout. You know, we're not recognizing you just yet.
Yeah.
You know, let's get this over with, see how the cards fall, and we'll look at it once all the facts have been presented. So yeah, you know, it hasn't surprised me. It kind of come out. I was like, oh, you know, straight away looked at it. And then the more I just sat there and I kind of perhaps should have just thought this was going to happen anyway.
It is the nature of boxing to have a bullshit like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes you think, oh, they just got to have their say because it's relevant at the moment. You know, it's kind of like, well, obviously he wasn't going to be fighting with this case pending or whatever. I don't know. It's just, I think the WBC have took the opportunity to come out and say something rather than, you know, I don't think there's much substance to it. It just.
Oh, I didn't know what you were talking about at first. Sorry. I thought when you said they, I thought you were talking about UCAD or.
Oh, no, the WBC. They just kind of like.
Well, there's not much they can do, to be honest. Like, they don't have. I mean, to be honest, they don't have any of the. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. You know, the system. Like, they don't even have access to the records that UCAD has in terms of the testing that I assume, right?
No, because I think didn't Mauricio at first say, look, he passed all the VADA testing. He's done all of our testing, and everything's good.
So
basically.
So I'm unaware of like what really they could gather in terms of evidence, period, because they don't have access to the material. You know what I mean?
I would suggest that maybe Mr. White, as they like to keep calling it, doesn't send the WBC too much information if it's not necessarily needed, because I don't know whether stuff from that would get leaked as well. Obviously, there's somebody within UCAD or the British Boxing Board of Control that has let Thomas Hauser know this stuff. So as much of it being a private matter between fighter, it's become quite public at the moment as far as it actually happening. But it should be knowledge, in my opinion.
You mean there should be transparency on this? Is that?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. There's obviously something that's flagged. There wouldn't be a meeting in front of a panel. There wouldn't be any of this. So something has, and like I say, for Rivas not to know, for, you know, if the source hadn't come out and told Hauser, would we ever have known this? What would have been the outcome of this? What, you know, we would never have known this had happened, potentially. So, but I think we're in for a bit of a long wait on this one, so we're going to have to wait and see. But I think it's just going to take some time before we get much more on this. Who knows?
I'm trying to find it again, Rob. It was that screenshot I posted in the group chat of the UCAD's rules and regulations about who gets notified about an A sample being positive, right?
Oh, it's full of, what was it, relevance or...
No, it's really vague, to be honest.
Was it in the one-on-one or the?
No, it's in our group chat. It's in our main group chat. The one with Mitty. Shout out to Mitty. I feel like it's just so mean to Mitty that we do that.
Rending now network.
Shout out to Fu. High off his ass at 4 a.m. Kidding. He doesn't do drugs. What was I gonna say? The UCAD ruling. Their terminology in terms of who gets information on A sample being positive without the B sample being tested yet was all interested parties will get notified. And I think with that terminology, it should be an easy legal case for Oscar Rivas to go, hey, we're an interested party. We should know. And maybe this has happened before and like it has failed in court. Because I can't believe that this is the first time this has like been an issue. I think it's just the first time we are aware of it in our sport, in our sort of section of it as well, in our sort of time frame of the sport. This had to have been an issue before. Fighters or athletes had to bring up this clause and say, hey, we should have known that our opponent and or fight or just opponent in general in terms of athletic competition, they were tested positive for PEDs or banned substances. And you didn't let us know. That's had to have been the case. We are an interested party. In your rules and regulations, it says all interested parties will get notified. Why are we not that?
It's copies of the charge will be sent to all interested parties. So yeah.
Yep.
And also, just quickly, people were asking why didn't he get just like a suspension straight up, like a provisional suspension from like UCAD if something flagged up. Well, if people want to listen to, I think it's Costello and Bunce Radio 5, they talk about there's 2 sections under provisional suspensions, and that's prohibited substances or specified substances. So prohibited means it's kind of like, you took this, like this illegal use of PEDs, and the other one is specified, which means it's kind of like taken by mistake, or there's an error, or tainted, or so that. But I don't know, so many grey areas. I've seen so many people tweet in pieces of UCAD ruling and this, that, and the other. But I think that's, again, like I say, a boxer popping dirty, no shock, or allegedly popping dirty, no shock. Fight sports and PEDs, they've been hand in hand for
PEDs in sports, just
period. All right, okay,
across the board. Like, we can just be honest about it.
I think most, like I said,
everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
Sorry,
he doesn't sound clean even in that soundbite.
He definitely is not. No.
But the whole thing for a lot of people is this whole that Rivas wasn't informed, and it was kept from them. They didn't have any say whatsoever about him getting into the ring without this prior knowledge. So whether it's, like I say, completely juiced to the gills, or nano traces, or nano substances, or
whatever. But moving on, because
yes,
we really don't know much more about the case. We just wanted to talk about it. I also want to give Rob the floor to sort of speak on it. Speaking of UK heavyweights taking L's, Anthony Joshua's most feared opponent ever, Andy Ruiz, the Snickers champion himself, has come out and said, guys, I'm losing 18 fucking pounds for this rematch. Rob, are you shook? Yeah. Are you scared that Andy Ruiz wants to come in 18 pounds lighter?
Not really.
He was already faster, hit harder than AJ. I don't know, man. I'll be worried.
I think he said he wants to be the Mexican AJ, and someone like cropped his head. You know, he wanted the physique. I think it was a little more than 18 pounds, but no, good for him. Good for him. He's going to have a full camp leading up to this. The amount of people that were like, "Oh, did you see his tweet? He's not coming to the UK. Hashtag it's a setup." Followed by like 2 minutes later, whether the fight's in the UK or the US, I will be there and I will give it mine. It'll be a great fight. So it's like,
Andy Ruiz with this whole like, oh, fight's not happening in the UK thing is like slowly becoming one of the top 5 trolls on boxing Twitter.
Or the top 5 most boring.
I'm just talking about that bit. I'm just talking about that bit. That's all. I'm talking about him, period. Just that bit, because he gets you guys all the time.
He gets everyone. I've seen it. Like, yeah, Andy, tell those fucking UK guys. You go to the fucking UK, and then if you're going to have to. It's in your contract. You ain't got a say in this. It's like,
I think Andy knows, guys. I think he knows.
Who knows? He's on a tour of just enjoying life.
Good for him.
He might need to up his losses. You know, like change it from 18 to maybe 28. If he keeps living good and enjoying life at the moment, it might be a little more than 18 that he needs to lose. But no, fair play to him. You know. Going to get himself a little healthier, a little more in shape, maybe a little faster, maybe a little, you know.
Big Nick in the chat saying, Matt, Ruiz hits harder than AJ. Laughing emoji. Good joke. You do realize like one guy knocked out the other, right? And one guy tried to knock out the other and didn't knock him out.
No one knocked anyone out.
I mean, he didn't want to go to the ref. He was hanging back on the ropes. He didn't want that work. I'm just saying. These are facts, guys. I'm sorry. Who got knocked down more? Who got hurt more? I'm just saying, Big Nick. Andy he got that pop. It's okay. Hey. AJ let Joseph Parker go to decision. He let tons of fights. He let Carlos Takam go the full 12. Derek Chisora took out Carlos Takam. Oh, no, he did not the full 12. It was like, what, stopped in, 10? 11?
I don't know, but tons. He's been the distance twice.
He's not been the distance only twice. Is it only twice?
Joshua. Yeah. No, once. Parker, that's it.
Is it just Parker?
Yeah.
That's a lot, okay?
Tons. Absolute
Let
tons.
me troll. Rob,
Rob, why
won't you let me troll, man? Why won't you just let me have fun? Please, let me live my life. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about the fights coming up this weekend. Then we're going to talk about more of the news. Then take your calls. 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers calling on Skype. Mixed Combat Radio. First, we're going to talk about the PBC on Fox card, which... If this wasn't Fox, I would really love this card. And on top of that, if I could separate what has happened with Marcus Brown from, outside the ring to what he does in the ring, I would really love this card. But it's on Fox. The main event is Wanaki versus Chris Areola in 2019. And again, that's an okay main event on FS1, right, Rob? Or a Friday night showbox card. Right? That's acceptable. But it's Fox. Big Fox. You have all the production value behind it. And it's Chris Areola in 2019. Sorry, Santiago. I know he's your favorite. But this does nothing for me. And on top of that, the co-main event, Marcus Brown versus Jean Pascal. Look, Marcus Brown, we're going to talk about his issues in a second, but...
Oh, no.
Oh, we will. We're going to talk about Sergey Kovalev's issues, obviously, so we got to talk about Marcus Brown. But the Jean Pascal fight, separating that, Rob, the Jean Pascal fight does nothing for him, right? That's not an appealing matchup.
It's a name. That's about it.
It's a name. It's a veteran in the sport that a bunch of us hardcores know.
Just like Areola.
Just like Areola. I think these two fights definitely, in terms of matchmaking, are mirror images of each other. But yeah, Marcus Brown, who's going through, I think, his third or fourth domestic violence case. I think he has a court date later this month, I believe. So it's just it's really hard. This guy is being indicted for felony charges. This isn't a speeding ticket, or let's say in Jose Benavidez' case the other day, speeding, right? Drag racing. Okay, drag racing, whoop-de-whoop, but domestic violence, felony charges, that's just a different level of what we're talking about here.
Or 80 pounds driving in London in the low emissions section. Like Jose Benavidez speeding and that kind of thing.
Oh.
Me picking up a fine in London.
I didn't get the reference. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I was
wait, what happened in London? I got scared there. Oh, you getting a ticket that you want me to pay for. Jokes. Funny. But
Super chat.
Super chat, yes. But Marcus Brown, I almost don't care about this fight because of what's going on with him.
I'm up on you then, because I really don't.
Because I say fight card. I don't care about his fight because of him and the matchup. But he has tainted the fight card to me. Take away the Fox aspect, which I mentioned. If I'm just looking at this card, it's a fine card. You have Wanaki Areola, that's gonna be a decent fight. Curtis Stevens, Wale Armentosa, that's gonna be a fun action fight. Carlos Negron versus Brian Howard. That's going to be a fun action fight. Julian Sosa on the card. Marcellus Wilder. I mean, this card has stuff to offer people that like boxing, but it's tainted by what is going on with Marcus Brown right now, and we have to talk about it. We have to address it. At least bring it up. At least do that bare minimum of bringing it up. Yeah, if you guys are listening right now and don't know what I'm talking about, look up Marcus Brown's legal case right now, and tell me if you really want to like sit down and watch this on Saturday night and report on it. I don't. Rob, I'm picking all the A sides in this card. Ronaki, Brown, Stevens, everyone. Like I largely don't care about this PBC card.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. This is one of the few PBC cards this year that's really missed for me. Like there's been some that I've had issues with, but I've like gone past, right?
Maybe like a good main event or a couple of good names on the card.
Yeah, or at least like there's an undercard fight that like I really like. For example, let's say the Gervonta Davis fight this last weekend, the Ladarius Miller Jezreel Corrales fight. I really wanted to see that fight. It was worth it just for that, for me personally, right? This doesn't even have like that fight, like that saving grace of a hardcore matchup that like pulls me, that's competitive. There's not a single competitive matchup, maybe except Curtis Stevens, Wale Armatosa, but that's probably 3 or 4 years too late, being quite honest. Rob, any thoughts on this card? Anything? Marcus Brown?
Not
like
much. We'll obviously get to it, but Heather Hardy is not on this card anymore, but we'll get to that. So, yeah, not really. When it came out, I don't know, not that interested. And as we approach, I've not suddenly gathered any hype that I've got to scramble for a link, but good old Instagram highlights will let me know if anything was worth it.
They should have just slapped Wilder versus Ortiz too on top of this and make it a free main event on Fox. Just saying. They should have done that.
They've got a fight before November the 9th. You can't leave these other people waiting to fight until November the 9th.
Anyways, moving on. The other card we're going to talk about in terms of any sort of depth is the Matchroom card, Anthony Fowler versus Brian Rose, which actually is a good like first fight, like comeback fight. Like that's a tough comeback fight in my opinion. I was surprised by that. That's a sink or swim sort of matchup where you're like thinking, if you're Eddie Hearn, you kind of want to see what Anthony Fowler is at this point.
Yeah, and this was supposed to be Scott Fitzgerald Rose, but Fitzgerald got injured, and Fowler stepped in. Then the fight card fell through, and now they've remade it for this next gen card, which, by the way, I will be in attendance as media for Mixed Combat Radio.
Hold on. There you go, Rob. There you go.
Thank you. So yeah, but yeah, in a way, this is like Fowler off the loss is coming in and taking who Fitzgerald was going to fight, straight back on, kind of back on the horse, but he's in a way could come away with a little more shine for doing it. Fair play, Caldwell and Fowler taking this fight, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Could be a decent fight. I know Rose is not whether 1 foot sort of out the door towards coming to the end of a career, but he's a bit of a wily veteran. I think world title challenger, and yeah, it'll be a good fight for Fowler. See where he's at. Be looking forward to it.
Agreed. Lewis Ritson on the undercard. Robbie Davis Jr. He's a decent fight. He's fun to watch. Who else? That's about it for people that I know.
Kaja on there. Who I'm trying to get the card up quickly just to see.
Martin Bokoli Alunga.
Oh yeah, Bokoli making his Matchroom debut. Let me just get the card so I can quickly see.
Not that much this weekend. I'll be honest. Kind of an off weekend, guys.
Yeah, and then I think after this.
Hold on. Anonymous bringing up a great point. Media approved by Cousin Eddie. True.
John Doherty Definitely got to watch that guy in action. Brutal puncher. What else we got? Yeah, it's all decent, like little names that obviously I know, others maybe haven't, or a lot of the UK guys will have seen these people on a lot of undercards, and I mean, I think that's been the good thing with like the zone and stuff. You guys have started to see like American kids from debut, like Nikita Ababi, Amo Williams, and you're going to see, if you've got the zone, you're going to see these people from their debut through to however far they go in the sport. Whereas I guess back in the day in America, you wouldn't have seen people's debuts. They wouldn't be on TV till like 15 fights maybe, if they were lucky, or whatever. So I think the modern era is good, and I don't know, perhaps it propels them that bit quicker, because quite often you see these guys in with guys again, with losing records, or they've maybe won a couple and lost, one, and they're put in with these prospects that, the Olympians or top amateurs coming out. And after a while, the pressure will be on to match those guys, maybe against each other, or, really step up the levels, because there's only so many times, from debut off TV, these guys can build a resume, 30, 25 fights. And you go, oh, this guy's 25-0. He's on TV. Let's check him out. And then you look at the resume on BoxRec, and you're like, yeah, let's see what he is then, because he hasn't really done much up till now, even though he's undefeated. But that's, for me, that's what I've always enjoyed. Sometimes even the main events, I'm a bit like, yeah, well, that's good. I'll watch the main event, but I don't know, Conor Benn's on the card, or Anthony Fowler's on the card. I've watched this guy from his debut, and so.
Hey, Rob, how excited are you to finally meet Anthony Fowler in person and interview him in person? Are you okay? I know you already interviewed Eddie, but you've seen my family reunion, so it's not the same. I know you're the redheaded stepchild of the family, so they don't treat you the same at family reunions. But you've seen Eddie at the gatherings, the local clan meetings. Not that sort of clan that came out wrong. Apologies. But Fowler's a guy that you have watched, like you said, since his debut. Yeah. I mean, since the amateurs, for God's sake, you've watched him.
Yeah.
I remember watching him back in the amateurs. This is a guy that's been around a long time, that you have been a fanboy of. I'm using that word specifically, a fanboy of. Are you gonna be okay? Can you breathe? You want to take a Xanax before or something?
I'll be fine, man. You're overplaying my fangirl, fanboy, sort of pop star. Oh my God, Michael Jackson! That.
Really, MJ's the one you go to? That's the one that comes to your head?
Don't you remember what was the movie he did? And they
the movie he did? The movie MJ did.
Yeah.
Give me more than that, because he's been in a couple movies.
It was about him. They were all running around trying to find him at the studios, and he's damn.
It's a movie about him. Is it a feature film or a documentary?
I can't even remember. I'm gonna find it.
Anyways, digressing. Let me
something for the Rending Now Newark. All right.
Shout out to Fu again at 4 a.m. trying to tweet out Trending Now Network, giving off different companies' names in different cities. It's great. But the rest of the action this weekend, I'll sort of go through chronologically what the slate is. On August 1st, we have a UFC Fight Pass boxing card with Ivan Heatrov and Eric Walker on the card. On August 2nd, on UFC Fight Pass, you have Ava Wallstrom versus Ronica Jeffrey for Wallstrom's WBC junior lightweight belt. No real big other name on that card.
Yes, anonymous Moonwalker.
There we go.
Matt hasn't seen it clearly.
No, I have not. What year is that?
Oh, damn. Let me get it.
I'm a youngin', Rob. You forget that.
1988. Yeah, but have you not seen films before you were born?
Of course, but good films.
This is great.
This is great. How dare you? She's a nice lady.
Let me just read that. Where'd it go? UK Raw going to be putting it on Hearn barbershop conversation style.
That was good. That was funny.
I want to get credentialed again.
Yo, he always gets credentialed. Relax.
Yeah, I know.
And you're British, so like they're not gonna really care. Telemundo has an August 2nd card with people I really don't know.
Other topics, if you.
I know there's other topics, but I'm gonna just tell the people what other fights are happening this weekend. Relax. August 2nd, off TV, but you can probably find a stream of it. Knockout CP Freshmart defending his WBA strawweight title, especially with Mendelfin being signed to Golden Boy now. I would not be surprised if somebody picks up Knockout CP Freshmart. He's younger, has probably a higher ceiling. Would not be surprised. Obviously, August 2nd, I think that's Friday, right? Fowler, Brian Rose, Michael Conlon on ESPN Plus on Saturday, Northern Ireland. Paddy Gallagher on the card. Paddy Barnes. But I'm not going to really go in depth. Luis Aries is on the card as well. That's kind of a shock. Wow, Luis Aries is on that card. Obviously, Saturday as well, you have the Fox card. And that is it for the fights this weekend. We do have some more topics to get to, Rob. And obviously, we have callers as well. So 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers calling on Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Let's talk about this Kovalev news. Because, God, what a fucking idiot. And it's plus like a dirtbag. Like, he's always been a dirtbag in the sport, let's be honest. Like, have you ever heard a story of Kovalev being a nice guy, Rob?
No.
Nope.
No.
They don't exist. My comments are reporting Sergey Kovalev removed from flight after allegedly kissing and throwing cash at a female passenger. Let me read some of this stuff and also some information about his other court case that is happening right now. And I think his hearing is this week, actually. As a guy that has a fight coming up in a few weeks, this is relevant, and ESPN is going to feature it. Sergey Kovalev, the World Boxing Organization light heavyweight title holder and one of the sport's most prominent figures, was removed from the flight on July 15th after a female passenger accused him of grabbing her hand and kissing her, throwing cash at her, and making her feel unsafe. Kovalev was aboard a flight departing Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport bound for Los Angeles International Airport before the plane took off. Kovalev's alleged actions toward the woman who was who was seated next to him resulted in her crying, and she alerted airline personnel that she felt uncomfortable and not safe, direct quote, according to a report viewed by The Athletic, which was... God, excuse me.
Yeah.
You okay there, Rob? You glitch out there.
I didn't spread germs across the internet.
What was that? I mean, right? Did you catch something? You're okay?
I think I'm good.
Back to the report. The captain.
That's my B sample later.
That was Mr. Robotic over there. The captain subsequently had Kovalev removed from the plane. Broward County Sheriff's Office received a disturbance call from the airport around 7:20 p.m. Eastern Time on July 15th, and officers arrived at the gate a few minutes later. According to a Broward County incident summary report, the 6-foot Kovalev, 36, is not listed by name in the summary, but describes a mid-30s tall Russian white male. The report claims that the tall Russian, after being removed from the flight for improper behavior, engaged in a heated argument with a male passenger, and then several others present got involved in the verbal dispute. No arrests were made, and there is no pending investigation, according to a Broward County Sheriff's Department spokesperson. Kovalev was rebooked on a flight later that night, according to the reports. Kovalev declined to comment on the allegations via his promoter, Main Event CEO Kathy Duva. But before I jump, again, while this is news, let's not forget what is currently happening as well. On June 8th, 2018, even though this is happening in 2018, this is still relevant today. Kovalev was arrested and later charged with felony assault following an alleged incident in Big Bear, California. Kovalev's accuser, Jamie Frantz, filed a civil lawsuit against the fighter in connection with the alleged assault. Frantz claimed in the lawsuit that after meeting Kovalev, he said he loved her within minutes and started, quote, touching her in unwanted ways, end quote. According to the suit, Kovalev and an associate eventually followed Frantz and her friend to Frances' cabin and continued to make sexual advances toward her and eventually pinned her to a couch. She got free and demanded he leave. According to the lawsuit, he then Kovalev allegedly kicked Frances' dog. When Frances reacted, Kovalev allegedly punched her. Frances' civil court filing states that she was diagnosed with a closed displaced nasal fracture and a concussion. She was granted an emergency protective order on June 16, 2018. Kovalev entered a not guilty plea on August 27, 2018 in San Bernardino Superior Court. In January, he responded on Instagram, including the line, blah, blah, who gives a fuck what you say, Kovalev. Where is it? The next hearing is scheduled for August 1st. So the next hearing in this case is scheduled for this week. I think that is Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, people. Save your subscription. Just follow Mixed Combat Radio.
So, obviously, in terms of the recent news, there's not much to report because there's no investigation. There's no actual lawsuit pending against him, right, from the passenger. It's just a sign that he is an aggressive dickhead and probably a sexist pig. And the story that is unfortunately kind of on the bottom of this article is the fact that he has a court case this week and he has a fight coming up on ESPN in a few weeks. Just want to mention that. Just curious that they're going to report on it. They did, in terms of talking about ESPN, they did talk about Shakur Stevenson's case, even though it was briefly, when Shakur Stevenson last fought. I'm curious if they talk about Kovalev's. I hope they do. Rob, any thoughts on this?
No, it's just more evidence of Kovalev not being the greatest stand-up guy. Hopefully it's, the time is right and Anthony Yard can do his thing and he can stay in Russia and not rear his head. It seems like a bit of a dick, to be honest. Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly, sure, yeah. Moving on, the Gervonta Davis-Ricardo Nunes card averaged 553,000 viewers, which actually did pretty well. I'll say a market improvement from the earlier fight this year for Gervonta Davis, a near 200,000 improvement. So good for him, but that's not the crux of the story that I want to talk about. Per Fight Oracle, which is, I think, Front Row Brian just reincarnated. For those who don't know who Front Row Brian is, he was a Twitter personality in the combat sports world for a very long time. He got his account suspended or deleted, and I think this is his new account. Showtime boxing ratings down 19.46% in 2019 versus 2018 average. Age 18 to 49 demo down 36.8%. Now, I will add, while that is obviously numbers are down, those numbers correlate entirely with overall quantity being down. By this time last year, Showtime had 12 events. 2 of them were Earl Spence fights. 1 of them was a Danny Garcia fight. One of them was a Broner fight, for example. Even though this year they did have a Broner pay-per-view, which did really good numbers, it wasn't on TV, so you're not going to get that bump in the average for the TV viewerships because Broner's on pay-per-view, right? But that is around a 40% drop in quantity. So I'm not too surprised that we see a 40% drop in maybe that demo and a near 20%, let's just call it 20% drop in average ratings, because A, you have less shows to sort of even out the average or rise the average. B, you don't have nearly the amount of names you have on the network that you did last year. So those two things in concert are definitely going to lead to this correlated ratings drop, from a year-to-year look. I don't think it's enough to sort of sound the alarms, as I think some were talking about maybe a few months ago, right, Rob? Because I don't think so. I think Gervonta doing good numbers is a good sign, to be quite honest.
Does that not necessarily mean he'd probably end up on Fox next time.
I mean, now that's a part we can get to, but I would just say as a whole, in terms of numbers, there's a reason why they have the numbers drop, because overall the amount of cards drop. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
but, yeah,
and
but,
just to finish my point, the main issue that they should be worried about is not necessarily the viewership being down; it's that they're not getting enough fights. That's the issue.
What they are getting are pretty.
Well, I just think, let's say if they had 5 more events from PBC, on average, those are going to have better names on them, just by necessity, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that is a concern. I think if Showtime just had more events like last year, they would therefore have better content. That's my assumption, because therefore they would be grabbing more of the good names, the bigger draws from PBC. They're not getting as nearly enough from the PBC stable in terms of fighters to make events. Therefore, they're not getting the better names just on average, and therefore they're not getting the same amount of viewership. You know, so like it's not surprising to me. I'm not saying like everything's okay, everything's sunny and roses and everything like that, but I do see like the correlation with all these numbers, and it's not too alarming to me if they just get more fights. Like I think if they come back in the second or in the third quarter and fourth quarter this year and have just a more robust schedule, then they're fine probably. But who knows?
It just depends what they get in those cards, you know, what names they do actually get. But I mean, Steven Espinoza done an interview this weekend, I think, saying about Wilder. He didn't even say it's definitely on Showtime. He said, we'll see, you know, I'd like to think that we've been with Wilder all this time, that's where it'll end up, but we'll have to wait and see. Like,
we know they're getting bid on. Come on, we know that. Tim Smith let the cat out of the bag on that PBC podcast saying that they bid on the shows, Fox and Showtime.
Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, good numbers from Tank anyway. I mean, he was I think it was trending #1 on Google for I don't know quite how long, but it was
for reference, his first fight this year, which was the first Showtime fight this year as well, against Hugo Ruiz, did 376,000 viewers. This one did 553,000 viewers on average. That's a near 200,000 viewer increase. So good for him.
Yeah, which now goes Fox. Oh yeah, we'll have a piece of that. Thank you very much. We'll put him on in front of 1.3 million now, or something like that.
I wonder if the Mayweather connection keeps him on Showtime, because Mayweather and Showtime are close. Mayweather and Fox aren't.
Well, Mayweather wasn't he in the ring for Spence Garcia? Didn't he?
No, he was, but but come on, like he had a huge Showtime deal. He obviously likes working at Showtime. He has a good relationship with Steven Espinoza. You can just tell like there's a long,
an even better one with Al Heyman though.
No, of course, but I'm just saying in terms of Mayweather and him being a promoter, he might like to keep his prized fighter with Showtime to keep that relationship going.
Yeah. I can see that, but yeah, no, like maybe it isn't like alarm bells quite just yet for show, but you've just got to wonder, you know, what is that? You know, if they're going to start announcing the third quarter and the fourth quarter of the year,
I'm not going to do that. They didn't do it this year, really.
Well, no, but last year they told everybody what was going on. This fight had a whole big.
Yeah, it was easy.
And now it's like, oh, we'll get that fight if we bid high enough for it.
Exactly. It's hard to make a 6-month schedule if to bid on every fight.
Yeah,
and on top of that, Rob, and you know it, some fights don't get announced till 4, 5, 6 weeks out from a fight.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's been a gripe of mine lately.
Like think about the entire. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but think about the entire August schedule. That seems like most of it was like on the fly, matchmaking.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, but could we be looking at sort of almost like HBO time as well as shit?
Not there quite yet, but I will say this: if the rest of the year continues at this rate, yes.
Yeah.
Come 2020, we can start having that conversation with more substance.
Yeah. But yeah, no, look, this Showtime obviously being link with boxing. In the last few years, they've been great. You know, they've put on some great fights, but Fox has come in as part of the deal with the PBC, and it seems to be there, you know, snapping up all the sort of big ones in a way. But I guess Wilder will end up still being pay-per-view on Showtime. He has been sort of this whole loyalty thing has seemed to have been part of the rhetoric, but yeah, I don't know. I think at one point it was almost like, you know, they'll chop and change, they'll swap around. You know, 1 week they're on, next month they'll be on Showtime.
Oh, Kumbaya, you know, singing songs by the campfire.
It's gonna be great, but yeah, I don't know.
Moving on, per Kevin Ioli. Look at Kevin breaking some news, man. He hasn't broken some news in fucking years, it feels like, right,
He's
man?
been doing more sort of UFC, MMA stuff than boxing. Really.
Yeah, but he's a dual guy. He's one of those that does both. You know, he could.
Yeah, I know, but on a boxing breaking news or UFC, I'd say he's been talking UFC a little bit more lately.
I'll put it this way. I don't think he's been breaking news, period, for some time. I'll just put it that way. Oh, I know. Shots fired. Hold on. Let me get the gunshots. Damn it. Where's the gunshots? Here we go. Sorry, Kev. Love you, man. But Kevin Ioli is saying a very good women's fight between Amanda Serrano and Heather Hardy is imminent. Source said fighters have agreed, just awaiting a date from Matchroom and DAZN. Rob, I know you usually have a good source when it comes to these camps. Did your source say anything regarding this?
In the past, it was spoke of as this was trying to get done, but then Heather was announced or was on the card this weekend on Fox. So it was like, oh, I guess that's fallen through. But on seeing Kevin Ioli's news, I reached out to said source, but nothing back as yet. But yeah, you know, this this I like it. You know, it's good. It's a good fight for DAZN. As we found out, Hardy sells a bunch of tickets. Does really good on the gate, that kind of thing. Serrano does all the tweeting and.
Rob, I'm curious.
Yes.
Total, you know, speculated hypothetical question because this doesn't exist because it's probably gonna be DAZN, right? But let's say Amanda Serrano, Heather Hardy, or say Heather Hardy versus Amanda Serrano is on Showtime. Let's say it's a main event. Let's say it has the same amount of budget, marketing dollars as Shields Hammer. What fight does higher ratings?
I don't know.
I just thought of that. I just want to float out there, people in the chat.
It'd be interesting.
I would just be curious about that numbers comparison because I think Shields Hammer probably would be bigger, but slightly. Like it would be marginal.
Yeah.
I think Shields has more of a mainstream sporting eye on her because of her Olympic pedigree, to be quite honest, than Serrano and Heather Hardy. They have more of a combat sports eye on them. You know what I mean? Like Heather Hardy has the crossover MMA appeal, stuff like that. Plus, she has marketed herself quite well over the years. She has.
Yeah.
I would just be curious about that because I do think DAZN, it's a good fight for DAZN because I think their combat sports subscribers, the Bellator subscribers, the boxing subscribers, we're going to all watch that, right? So they're going to probably get good ratings within their already sustained subscriber base. But I don't know if it's a, you know, subscriber, you know, gainer, so to speak, or if you gain, any sort of mass amount of people from it. But regardless, it's a great fight. I love it. I am curious about what weight it's at and for whose belt it's at, or for, I should say. That might lead to how I determine who might win it. But Serrano probably should be the favorite. She's younger, faster, but she is on average the smaller opponent. So I'm curious about this matchup, how it's going to look. And plus, it's just another big women's fight in a year that's had some pretty big women's fights in boxing. So it's nice. You know, it's a good trend. You know, even not to the same degree as Shields Hammer, because Shields Hammer was its own thing. Like, it was its own main event. Like, the card had nothing to offer but that fight, right? So it really stand on its own. But, like, Katie Taylor, Defon Pursoon. Like, that fight, I think... First off, like you said, great fight. But for us in the community, we still talk about that.
Yeah,
Like I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I got a question from Championship Rounds about like, hey, I don't know if you talked about the decision and who you thought won. I'm like, really? You haven't heard me talk about that one? Okay, I guess let me talk about it. But like, people still want to hear debate on Taylor Pursuant, so that's a good thing. Serrano, Heather Hardy, I think is another one of those fights that does move the needle in some way. And again, combining the Bellator MMA audience with boxing in this type of fight, ooh. And also not forget, Amanda Serrano has her own MMA experience with the Combates Americas. So I think it's all around just a smart move by them completely.
Yeah, I like it. I like the fight. Looking forward to it. See how it holds up, you know. I think like we said, we found out, you know, Heather sells a bunch of tickets, does really good. Serrano's got a fan base, and I don't know, I think it'll do good. And I think just the look of it, you know, in the arena, wherever it's held, obviously we'll wait on a date and a venue for that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
If they're smart, put it in the MSG Theater. So it's like 4,000 people, right? But it's New York, Heather Hardy. I'm telling you. And plus, Amanda Serrano, Puerto Rican. Like, come on.
Yeah. I think I saw something, Danny Jacobs looking to come back in November time as well. I don't know if that would be.
Ooh, undercard of that. I'm down.
Yeah. And apparently he'll be at 168, just as a little side note.
Ooh, Rob, what are you doing over here? Where's the links, man? Moving on though, because I do like the thought of Daniel Jacobs at 168, but we can talk about that another time.
I think it's a bloody elbow. I think.
Shout out to Bloody Elbow, one of my favorite sites.
I think it was that one more. Yeah.
Anyways, shout out to Jesse Vargas over here breaking his own news, right? Jesse Vargas saying, currently negotiating a fight with Jaime Munguia for September, bringing entertainment to my fans. And then you asked Rob 14th ? And he liked that tweet from you, which I gotta say was funny. So it looks like that's going to be on the Devin Haney card. And also curious that that's not the main event. I'm intrigued by that.
I'm not sure it's going to be. I think they're possibly sticking to the original plan of the 13th, so the Friday for Devin Haney, like a matchroom card, and then the 14th is going to be a Golden Boy card. I don't know.
I hope they don't do that. Because then we're going to get two kind of diluted cards when we can just get one really fucking awesome-ass card, right?
Yeah.
I hope we don't have that happen. I don't think we do as well, if I'm speculating. I just think that the zone is thinking to themselves, why do that? Like, just have one event. Have one event in Las Vegas. It's easier for us to produce. It's cheaper for us to produce. No. We're already overpaying Jesse Vargas. We don't need to overpay him and then pay for another card on top of that. Sorry, Jesse. You're going to fight on the co-main event of Devin Haney. Because you know what? Devin Haney is the future. And you two guys aren't that great. But you kind of produce fun fights. So we're kind of putting you guys together. But back to specifically Vargas Munguia. I like the matchup in a sense because you're not going to get much from Munguia probably in terms of him fighting actual top 5 guys, right? Like, that's just not happening.
Yeah.
Jesse Vargas is a name, and he could beat him, though Jesse Vargas just went life and death with Humberto Soto, so who knows? But then again, Jaime Munguia just went life and death with fucking Hulk Hogan, who's like 80 years old.
I haven't got it ready.
I know. I was kind of. You should have though. You should have, because we're talking about Munguia. You should have instantly known at that point. Matt was going to say Hogan one time at least.
I haven't even got my soundboard open.
You're gone for a week because you're air quote sick, and you slipped the ball, man, amateur style. Anyways,
don't be.
I'm okay with the matchup. I like the matchup a little bit. I'm not blown away by it. I hope to God it's not its own main event, and they put Devin Haney as his own event the day before. That's stupid. Rob?
Yeah, I think I like it. I think this is a real 50-50 in a way. I think this will be real tight betting line. I think Vargas is in with a shout. I think Munguia could obviously win it. I don't know. I think this is a real almost a true 50-50. I think if a real focused Jesse Vargas turns up, I think he could get the upset. If it's an upset, I don't know.
All right, man. Sure.
Next
Next fight.
my opinion.
Yeah, I know. I'm just not a Jesse Vargas fan. Like, he went life and death with Humberto Soto and had a draw with Thomas Delorme. Yeah, Munguia is not great, but Munguia is bigger than him. You know, like, size does matter. It is a factor. You know, Vargas struggled with a balding Humberto Soto who was overweight.
What balding got to do with anything, man?
Hey, it has everything to do with it, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to trigger you. I'm sorry to trigger you like that, Rob. Okay.
Very quick. Also, depending how they do the card, but it's looking like Michael Hunter versus.
Can you let me get to the topic, Rob?
I don't know. I thought we were talking about this September card.
And it's literally next, because you know why? Because it's on the same card. See, Rob. See,
yeah.
Let me produce you. Okay.
All right. Go on then.
Okay, you're Michael Jackson. I'm Quincy Jones. Okay, I'm writing all your shit.
I don't even know what that means.
It means I'm writing all your music. It's not really yours.
Oh, okay. All right.
You get it. Digressing. Michael Hunter, as you said, Rob, fighting Sergey Kuzman, and it's most likely landing on the Haney Abdullayev card, obviously, because Matchroom US names, and they sort of need to fill out that date. I like the fight. You know, I'm not blown away by it because Kuzman didn't look that great in his last fight, but Mike Hunter, I would say, did look really great in his last fight. But I like the matchup. I think it makes sense. I'm okay with it. It should be competitive. Though I do think Mike Hunter should be the clear favorite.
Yeah, I like it. And shout out to VADA Testing that announced this fight before Matchroom or anybody, which they quickly deleted it.
Gary in the chat saying Vargas wins easy. Vargas outclasses him. Sure,
oh no,
sure, man, sure.
Oh, no.
Gary, call in.
Can't believe we're going to have that debate. But yeah, that's kind of what I meant by a focused Vargas could get the upset, whereas Gary does seem very definite about it all. But yeah, no, I like the fight. Michael Hunter, every time Matchroom sign a new heavyweight, which seems to be a lot lately, he's been like, oh, good, more food. He's really up for fighting any of these names that Matchroom have been signing lately. Like when they got Parker, he's like, yep, more food. And I'm like, well, Hunter wants that work. He loves it. He just wants to get on with his career. Fuck all this around, and I want a big name. Let's do this.
Yeah,
if I'm good enough, I'm good enough.
I like Michael Hunter. You can't help but like him. Last topic of the day, and we're going to callers. Sorry, Rob, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you have anything else you want to say?
There's more in the one-on-one, by the way.
Okay, well, I'll let you talk about this because you have a lot to talk about this subject, and I don't. So I'll open up the one-on-one chat. MTK announced a world-level tournaments with featherweight, super lightweight, and light heavyweight with 8 fighters in each category. Rob, this is for
the golden contract.
This is your territory, man.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good idea. So a mini tournament for MTK fighters. Winner gets I think it's a 5-fight deal, six-figure sum, and on with it. I guess on with their career, aligned with a big promoter as well. So and I believe the fighters won't know who they're fighting until the week of the fight. Or something like that. It's great. I think it's a really good idea. But again, as we know with tournaments, please make it run smoothly, like clockwork. Because tournaments are a great idea. It's just very difficult to make it work in boxing, I think, like injuries and things like this and whatever. But if all money's in place and guaranteed, and because this is obviously going to be like, if there's a contract on offer, this is like going to be young, I guess, I don't know, certain level fighters, I guess. But obviously MTK, I guess this will be on ESPN for you guys when this starts rolling out.
ESPN Plus, probably.
ESPN Plus. So yeah, no, I really like it. I think it's a good idea. Like, rather than these people that aren't going to be world, at the moment, world title challenges where all the belts are going to be on the line in the tournament. This is to get a signed contract start getting some push behind you and that. So there's going to be some guys out there looking to take this and make their mark and get proper promotional sort of push and managerial advice, and when others are still, I guess, fighting in the leisure centres and trying to make their way in the sport. So it's quite a big prize, it doesn't always have to be a world title, I guess.
If they add like a reality TV show around it, it's just The Contender or The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that. I'm just not going to watch it probably. But sorry, last topic of the day, because we did have some more news that came out while we were doing when we were doing the show. I think about 30 minutes into the show, Mike comments were saying sources tell The Athletic that Alexander Povetkin was offered a fight with Tyson Fury next month. The Olympic gold medalist declined and will instead fight Tyson's cousin, Hughie Fury, in a fight that could land on the Loma Campbell undercard. Gosh.
That's probably getting announced tomorrow, by the way.
I'll be honest. Is it weird that I'd rather have Tyson Fury versus Povetkin than Hughie Fury versus Povetkin?
No, I don't think so.
I don't want to see Fury anymore. I don't care.
It's weird because the guy's like 24, It's crazy to think that. He's kind of had to be out there doing it. He went to Pulo's backyard to try and do it over there. Got that horrible cut in a horrible fight. But questionably, or arguably, I should say, close decision with Parker. And he's like 24 years old. So I guess signs with Matchroom, straight in with Povetkin. That's fair play to him.
Yeah.
See how it goes, but I must admit, I kind of had a raised eyebrow when Hughie Fury was signed by Matchroom, because similar to you, I'm not super interested in watching Hughie Fury fights.
No one is
as of late. So I'll watch it, and a win over Povetkin would be quite impressive. Whether it's not so impressive to watch, that would be the thing to see. But interesting. He was being lined up for Tyson Fury, but that kind of puts to bed the whole a US name. But it's all right. We're good. We got it covered.
We got Charles fucking Martin, so we're good, guys. We're good. That's the better fight, anyways, right, Rob?
Hell yeah! When the god is walking around with a lineal title, that's gonna be. Can't wait for those sound bites.
If we enter our Lord's year of 2020, and AJ doesn't have a belt, and Charles Martin has the lineal belt somehow,
the man who beat the man who beat the man.
My God, I will lose my shit. If in some universe Charles Martin beats Tyson Fury, and then let's say, for fuck's sake, Ortiz beats Wilder too, and we get obviously Ruiz beating AJ again. Stop. And so we enter 2020 with the landscape of Ortiz with the WBC belt, Ruiz as the unified champion, and obviously Charles Martin wearing that fucking suit that is the lineal suit, right? That they stitched together, right? Remember that they showed that fucking 20-minute segment over and over again of that woman stitching the suit like she's Betsy fucking Ross making the United States flag in 1789 or whatever it fucking was. Yeah. Please give me that universe. Please, God. Please. Let's have a moment of silence and pray for that. Okay, we're good now. We're good.
Yeah. But who did I see tweet? There's suggestions that Fury wants to take the September date. So
you mean the 14th?
Yeah.
Oh God.
But I think it's going to be October. I think this is just Fury might have done a Fury, and it's sort of got boxing Twitter going a little bit.
Yeah, probably. Let's go to callers.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Gary and Santiago are not first. Sorry, guys.
Wow.
773. Who is this?
News.
Who is this? Where are you calling from?
What's up? This is Kevin from Chicago.
What's up, Kevin?
You guys hear me?
Yeah. How you doing, man?
Nothing much. Pretty good. Canelo Alvarez has Cholo privilege for being able to fight on a drug test, failed drug test. He goes in and fights Triple G. I think that's partially Triple G's fault for accepting the fight. He was counting his dollars. He knew there wasn't going to be a bigger fight than that. He shouldn't have accepted that fight while Canelo was on PEDs. The steroids were definitely not out of his system, or whatever it was, performance-enhancing drugs. And another thing, Jamie Munguia lost to Dennis Hogan. Dennis Hogan should be the champ right now. What's the talks on that? Is Dennis Hogan getting his rematch of his robbery?
No, he is not getting that rematch. And we'll address your points about Canelo. First off, Triple G fought Canelo after Canelo's suspension, not during it.
Yeah, the suspension was freaking, how long? A couple months?
No, the suspension was far too probably short. You may argue that, and that's fine. But he definitely did not fight him mid-suspension. That did not happen. Secondly, it wasn't steroids.
I didn't say you did.
You did. You did say you did. Because you said you
I said
equated.
He fought him during his suspension. No, I said his suspension was weak, and he fought him, or that's what I meant to say at least. His suspension was weak, and he was still on PEDs when he fought Triple G. That doesn't go out of your system.
How can you say he was on
2
PEDs?
or 3 months or however long it was.
How can you say he was on PEDs?
Because he failed the drug test.
But it was after the suspension. After the suspension, he was on VADA, the same program that Triple G was on.
Yeah, but he failed the drug test, and that doesn't get out of your system in that short amount of time. It takes
yes, it does.
a year. It takes like at least a year.
No, clenbuterol definitely goes out of your system within a year, buddy. Yeah, within 6 months too. Within like a day.
No.
Yes.
He was still having the effects of it. Anybody who knows performance-enhancing drugs, you still get the lingering effects of performance-enhancing drugs. It doesn't just disappear and, it's out of your system, back to normal. No, you get the lingering effects, and he should have been suspended for 2 years, like T.J. Dillashaw to go see.
Kevin, first off, T.J. Dillashaw fought for EPO. Do you know the difference between EPO? No. Hold on. Kevin. No, it's not the same thing.
Go ahead.
It's not the same thing. It's fundamentally not the same thing. Are you saying all banned substances on the WADA banned substance list are the same thing? Is that what you're saying?
Might as well be to me.
So you think again, Kevin, you think cocaine, weed, steroids, EPO, all the same thing?
No. Performance-enhancing drugs. Clenbuterol is a performance enhancer.
It's a diuretic.
EPO is a performance enhancer. Yeah, it's a performance enhancer.
No, okay. But there are different types of performance-enhancing drugs. There are anabolic steroids. There are diuretics. Like, you understand the differences of those, right? Like, you understand what those do to the body, right? You say you're an expert on this, so you should know the difference between them.
Clenbuterol is not only a diuretic. It's also a muscle builder.
No, it's not.
Testosterone booster.
No, it's not. Secondly, you do understand that Canelo also tested under the levels that WADA have admitted are the contaminated levels for tainted meat, right? You do understand that. Per WADA's own Beijing test and study, which you can find on WADA's own website, Canelo was under those levels. And that Beijing test had to do with China, not Mexico. So it's not like it was about Canelo.
Listen, clenbuterol is a steroid-like chemical that was initially developed to treat asthma in horses. Clenbuterol is a steroid-like chemical.
But it's not a steroid.
It's not just...
But it's not a steroid. Like, you understand that.
Clenbuterol, a substitute for anabolic steroids. Because clenbuterol is a recently popular drug used by athletes in many sports for its purported anabolic effects and reduction of substantiated fat.
Where are you reading this from?
It's not just a diuretic.
Where are you reading this from?
This is Google. You can look it up.
Well, Google. Can you name a website? Because you're reading from a website right now. I can tell. Can you name the website?
Website is Medical News Today.
Medical News Today. .org, .com, .edu.
medicalnewstoday.com. Yep.
Okay.
Just type in clenbuterol.
Now
The first thing that
go
pops up.
now go to WADA. Okay, and WADA's code. Okay, and look up their study from the Beijing Olympics on clenbuterol and tainted meat in China. Okay, just go do that.
I don't give a shit about this excuse.
What?
That's a lie. People do it all the time. The tainted meat. I don't believe anything. I don't believe that.
You don't believe anything?
I don't believe that excuse. No, that tainted meat? You think it was tainted meat? You really think it was tainted meat?
I don't think that. Scientists and medical professionals think that.
Yeah, they get paid they get paid to think that.
They get paid.
That's
Wait, hold on.
horseshit.
You think that scientists and medical professionals for WADA were paid by who for their studies on the Beijing Olympics and contaminated meat for clenbuterol, which corroborated Canelo's case? Who paid them for that?
The same people who paid off the judges to give Jamie Munguia a decision.
Wait, hold on. You think that the person or the group that paid off the judges for Munguia, in your opinion, to win against Hogan, are the same people that paid off WADA for a study that was unrelated to boxing years prior to Canelo? That it's some cabal? You think that?
Listen, real quick.
No. Answer the question. No. Kevin. I'm going to mute you. I'll bring you back on. Yes or no? Do you think that? It's very easy. Do you think there's some cabal that had premonition and knew that they had to pay off scientists and medical professionals in a scientific peer-reviewed study, okay, years prior, so that Canelo Alvarez could have corroborated evidence that he ate tainted meat and had clenbuterol? And then you also think those scientists are saying that, clenbuterol, anabolic steroids, EPO are all different things, but that's false. It's all the same. Is that what you're saying, Kevin? Yes or no?
Correct.
Okay.
You want to know what else I'm saying?
No, I don't care anymore. Have a great day, Kevin. Gary in Dallas. How you doing, man?
That was pretty good. I think you both had a point there.
No, he doesn't have a
they're
point.
obviously different.
He doesn't have a point.
He had a point in the sense, not in the point of where he said that Golden Boy or whoever paid off the Munguia judges also paid off the WADA study of the 2012 Beijing. It was 2012 Beijing Olympics?
Was it 2012 or 2008?
2012 was London.
Was London. Sorry, Rob. I'm sorry.
2016, I guess, Beijing was?
No, Beijing was 08. Beijing was 08, bro. Come on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not long ago.
2016 was Brazil. Wow,
yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's not a point. The point was, look, if you believe it was tainted meat, okay, that's your prerogative. It's also irrelevant, right? It doesn't matter if that's how he got it, right? If you get pulled over for DWI and you tell the cop, I didn't know the punch was spiked, is he going to let you drive home? No, he's going to arrest you because you're driving drunk. It doesn't matter how he got it. He came up dirty.
No, Gary, it's a little bit different. This would be like if you take, let's say, NyQuil, right? And then you take a breathalyzer and it pops. Or you take a drug test and it pops for something, right? And you're swerving when you're driving late at night, but you just take a NyQuil, right? There's a difference, right, to alcohol. There just is. Like that.
You're drunk. You can't drive. No, there's no difference. You're drunk. You can't drive.
I can take a dose of NyQuil and legally drive. Yes.
Not if you're over the limit. Right? There's a breathalyzer that you blow into. If you drink
but
so much
Gary,
NyQuil
Gary,
that
what
you
I'm
over that limit,
no,
you can't drive.
I don't think you understand what I'm saying. Okay, don't think about the limit. Okay, just that it pops, it registers, right? That's what I'm saying, right? You drink alcohol, you take medicine, it pops for the same thing for a breathalyzer, right? In theory, right? But those are two very different things. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And on top of that, Gary, the effects those substances cause is quite different. The impairment from drinking vodka is different than the impairment you get from taking NyQuil. Even if you're under, I'm not talking about the levels again. I'm just talking about the way it affects you. Similar, that same study proves that if you take clenbuterol through tainted meat, you do not get the same properties as you do when you take it, I forget the right term, via proper administration. Let's just put it that way. You don't get the performance-enhancing effects when it's just tainted meat. It'll pop up in your system, but you don't get the performance-enhancing effects. That same study proves that. But the point what I was making, Gary, is that his assertion that, Canelo, whoever, it's all the same. Well, no, you have WADA's own specialist saying, no, it's not the same for this case, not the same for this one. So we can't equate EPO with clenbuterol, with anabolic steroids for Dylan White's case. You can't equate that. That's what my point was.
No, sure, absolutely. You're right. You said it's a diuretic. Well, caffeine's a diuretic, too. Do you want to ban everyone who drinks a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, no, you can't compare that to an anabolic steroid. It's not an anabolic steroid. But it's also gives you an advantage cutting weight, and it opens up your lungs to help you breathe easier, which I would imagine would help endurance. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just a Google MD. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I've heard. So it does give you an advantage, and they said you can't take it. So he got caught taking it. To me, how he got it in his body is ultimately irrelevant. Now, maybe for the length of suspension, he wants to plead his case. That's fine, but he can't go into the ring with that in the system. That's my point. Right? Like, if you believe that he got it from tainted meat on accident and you want to be lenient with the suspension, okay.
And look, Canelo got a suspension. Canelo got a suspension.
Yeah, he got 6 months, which is kind of the status quo. Yeah. No, he got. That's what Billy Joe got, right? 6 months. Mm-hmm. That's what Jarrell Miller got, 6 months. So, and Jarrell Miller popped for steroids, anabolic steroids, like multiple steroids, right? So, no, there was nothing. I don't want to say there was nothing wrong with the Canelo suspension because that's subjective, but it met the status quo. It met what they usually do to people who test positive, right? Like it's.
No, you can even argue that they went actually above board with Canelo. I argued this when it happened. And I know Rob's rolling his eyes because he's heard this a lot from me, but you can go through the cases of both USADA and VADA in the U.S. when it comes to clenbuterol cases for fighters from Mexico. Most of them get off. Why? Because there's corroborated evidence. If your levels are below that threshold that's set by WADA, I think it's like 2 nanograms per milliliter or something like that is the threshold. I might be making that number, but I think it's something like that. You are deemed a false positive, like almost automatically. USADA, Brandon Moreno. Kevin was mentioning UFC fighters, so I bet he knows Brandon Moreno. He got off scot-free from USADA. Why? Because of tainted meat. So Canelo Alvarez is getting 6 months for a great case in his favor. It's actually above board. Nevada went above and beyond what they need to do to suspend Canelo. So, no, actually, Canelo got a harsher suspension than the norm for people that have tested positive for clenbuterol. There's been entire teams, Gary. The entire, I think it was 2014, 2013. It was the Junior Olympic
soccer team, World Cup.
Yes, but it wasn't.
Olympic team? Yeah,
it was the Junior Olympics, though, right? It was the Junior Olympics, right? It was Mexico's team. They all popped. All the kids in the Junior Olympic team from Mexico popped dirty for clenbuterol. They were all below the levels. Guess what, guys? Did the IOC ban Mexico from the Junior Olympics? No. So no, Canelo actually got a harsher suspension. Like that narrative that Canelo got off easy needs to be pushed back because it's not true.
No, I didn't say he got off easy.
No, I know you didn't, but others have, like Kevin in the chat, who's still mad and in his feelings.
His call was okay until he got to the same people that paid off the year. I don't know. I guess he was wrong on a lot of things, right? Because there's no way you can compare.
No, you're right, Gary. No, you're right. That's when he jumped the shark, though. Because you can't say that, man. Like, come on.
Now that we're on Munguia, come on. He ain't going to be Jesse Vargas. Like, Munguia is not really even a top 10 154 pounder. I mean, I guess you put him in the list because he has a belt. But when I said, there are 10 guys at 154 that could beat him, yeah, there are. Like, he's not really a 154 guy. He lost to Hulk Hogan. And we all know he lost to Hulk Hogan.
Facts. And he lost to Inoue, arguably, as well. He lost to...
That was close. I had him winning.
It's close. No, I'm just saying
close.
arguably.
Yeah.
There's an argument there. And even the Liam Smith fight was really close and competitive.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you put him in the top 10 at 154, but he doesn't really belong there.
He could drop out of
Like,
that top 10 instantly. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Dominican guy, Carlos Adame. We both said, wow, that's a good fight. No one puts him in the top 10. And they're the same size. They have the same flaws. They have the same strength. Like, that's the kind of fighter he is. Now, he may make some entertaining scraps, but he's not going to win. I mean, he's not beating any of the top guys at 154. You really think it's competitive with Jesse Vargas? Is that based on size, or you just think Jesse Vargas is no good anymore?
I'll be honest. I've never thought Jesse Vargas was that great to begin with. So it's not about him like dropping off. It's just that I've never thought that much of him. And plus, like, I don't think he's a true junior middleweight. He struggled against Himuto Soda. Like, I'm not a big believer in Jesse Vargas right now.
Does Munguia beat Soto?
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe. That's a war right there. That's on the old ESPN Friday Night Fight. That's a great ESPN Friday Night Fight. Like, that's a great, I don't know. That's a toe-to-toe scrap where either guy could win. Like, I thought Munguia was good until he fought again. After the Saddam Ali fight, I'm like, oh, that guy's good. And then I saw him again, and I said, he's not good. And I seen him twice more since then. It's like, this guy's not good at all, right? Like, he's just not good. Like, I don't know what else to say about Munguia. He's not good. If that was Golden Boy's future, they're in some trouble.
They've been in trouble.
And imagine if he goes up to 160 and he gives away which he's going to have to, I would imagine, in the near future. There's no one in 160 he can beat. He won't even have that big size advantage. I mean, he'll still be a big middleweight, but he won't have that natural huge advantage where he goes in the ring 15 pounds bigger than everyone. Like, that'll all be gone. Like, no, that ship, that Munguia ship, his 15 minutes are over. That ship has sailed.
I kind of agree.
I missed the first hour of the show. The Canelo Derevyanchenko thing, that was the lead.
Just purse bids postponed for Canelo Derevyanchenko. That's about it.
Very quick, Coppinger's just tweeted that DAZN have now approved Derevyanchenko.
Who did? Was that again, Rob?
DAZN have approved Derevyanchenko now.
Okay. I mean, they would kind of have to, right? I mean, they kind of have to approve whoever Canelo wants, mostly. Don't they?
I don't know. It's rock and a hard place at the moment. They just want him to fight at the minute, I guess. He pulled out of September. And they just need their prized asset to fight on their platform at the moment.
You guys think that Canelo will fight again this year, right?
Yeah, this Derevyanchenko fight is October 27th or 26th or something like that. Will he do one in December? I don't know. Doubt it.
No, he won't fight again in December. He fights in October. I'm just saying he will fight a second time this year. They're not going to push that fight off until... Okay. Yeah. Then he's going to, I mean, unless he doesn't care about the IBF belt, which maybe he doesn't, right? Because he can't be undisputed anymore because they took the WBC belt. Maybe he just doesn't care about that belt and they'll let him strip him of it. I don't know. I don't know why the IBF is doing this. Like, what does Derevyanchenko have on the IBF? Like, who does he have pictures of with whose wife that, like, they're sending over to him? to give another title shot.
I don't know. It's a very quick turnaround from losing a title shot, having an eliminator, having another title shot.
A
right?
year ago.
Yeah.
He lost to Jacobs, and then Jacobs lost to Canelo. So let him fight Canelo right away. Beating Jack Pulke in a tight fight, like that's all he's done. It doesn't make any sense why and then they're going to call his number right away, have to fight him right away. He's got something on the IBF for sure. No, that's all I got. I'll let you go to Santiago.
Well, have a good one, man. Let's go out to Santi in LA. He hasn't pressed one, but I don't care. In my mind, he's always pressing one when he's calling in, no matter what. Santiago, you better be ready to take a call. What up?
Not much. Just here in the locker room right now. Can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Not much. I'll try to keep this quick. Obviously, I think that Kanaki is going to be the one coming away with the win. But for me, this is the fight that depending on how Arreola loses, this is probably the end of it for him. This is his last hurrah, and I hope that if it is his last hurrah, that he goes out the way he's always wanted to go out, with a war. And, regarding all the testing and suspensions and whatnot, like Gary said, it's like the status quo. We're pretty much aware of this point what we're going to get when it comes to these, like, A-side fighters, the cash money guys. And it's all stupid. I really can't reiterate more than I already have in previous calls, especially when you and I have had this discussion beforehand. And, obviously at this point, whatever news is being said about Canelo, Kovalev, or whatever is like, Kovalev doing what he did. Yeah, you're right. He's a dirtbag. We've never heard any good thing to say about him regarding any of the conduct he's had, whether it be with his trainer or with other women or some comments he's made in the past. So it is what it is. I'm glad that they took the woman's side, kicked him off the plane, and just like with Marcus Brown at this point, you look at these guys and what they've been doing, and you got to wonder to yourself, like, are they really worth watching at this point? Because, like, yeah, they may be good, but, like, they really suck as human beings. You know what I mean?
I absolutely agree, man. Like, on this sport, and, like, boxing or our community is just a microcosm of, like, the rest of society. But this sport is filled with assholes and dirtbags, just like society is. So, like, you have to deal with them in some aspect. We have to at least address them.
Agreed. Everybody seems to think that they could get away with it the same way Tyson seemed to, because people were gravitated to that. But, it's not the 90s anymore. It's the 2000s. We're at an age right now where we don't tolerate that kind of shit anymore, especially when you look at, especially with women, the prominence of women's boxing growing and women's sports in general. So it's just kind of like we got to be holding these guys up, ourselves and them, to much higher standards. And, like, this isn't a whole shtick about, like, oh, you're just trying to bring the man down or shit like that. And I was like, no, man, just be a proper fucking human being, It's not that hard. And if you think it's hard, then you got some serious rethinking to do about how you conduct yourself as a person and who you conduct yourself with.
I agree, Santi. Anything else, brother?
No, that's pretty much it. Like you said, obviously, minus the Arreola fight, it is pretty much like a lax weekend. I'm here at the gym. I'm about to jump in the shower and then hit the steam room. So all of you guys do it. Everyone that's listening to the show, share, subscribe, hit that like button. These guys are always trying to provide you hours and hours of footage, news, breaking news, anything that happens during, before, or after the show. They always let us know.
Have a good one, Santi. Well, guys, that's going to be it for today. Rob, it's been good to have you back, man.
Yeah, it was lovely to sit on you getting triggered and not able to let it go. It brought back memories. But yeah, no, obviously
very fond memories, let's say. Let's put it that way.
I'm like in the back going, look, just let him speak, let him get his piece out.
Rob, we get 3 callers to the show. I'm arguing with one of them at least, damn it, okay?
Yeah, but maybe that means we only end up with 2 callers next time.
Yeah, Kevin didn't call back in. Tell us about the cabal that's paying off WADA judges in Mexico or wherever they are. Tell us about that, please. I love that.
But yeah, obviously, thanks everybody in the chat for being here. I guess any big news, we'll be back with some news tomorrow or whatever. Matt's obviously got Trending Now.
Yes, Trending Now Network. Go to our new YouTube channels. You can find it on our YouTube channel right to the side.
So if the boxing gets a little bit too much, you just want to talk about some TV, some music, some movies, oh god, politics.
We're gonna go light on that. Don't worry, guys. Light on the politics.
You could go
for those that want to know what our content's gonna be, sort of. We have 2 new shows up on Trending Now Network, Trending Now podcast as well. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood review, full spoilers, the new Quentin Tarantino movie, and the full breakdown of the MCU announcement from Comic-Con, the new Blade movie with Mahershala Ali, Fantastic Four, the new X-Men movie, a ton of stuff we're going to talk about, or we did talk about. Go check it out.
All that sort of geek shit. So if you want to go over there, hit a thumbs up, go do that. That'd be much appreciated.
Rob talking shit, but the second we're going to talk about Star Wars, he's going to be on that show. In a heartbeat.
Yeah, but that's what I don't know where you got that link from. I don't know what that means.
That's adulting, sir. That's normal.
This is like there's made up like Spider-Man and shit like that, and then there's obviously
space battles,
galaxies that were far, far away a long time ago.
Yeah, you got like Shakespeare and Hamlet, and you got like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, right?
I know which I believe in anyway. Is Shakespeare even real? I don't know. He talks complete nonsense. But anyway, hit that thumbs up, share the show. Thanks everybody, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Yes, find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. And again, Trending Now Network, our new channel. Go find it on YouTube, podcast forum, all that stuff. Peace.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
You disrespect boxing, you piece of shit?
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Stay off the weed.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
That's fucking illegal.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?